make a bet that proof will be provided of something.
It's about time.
That Haitians are eating. So this is racist.
Long distance.
You're supposed now to think that foreigners are going to eat your pets. Haitians are eating cats. Haitians are eating dogs. So, it's all jolly backslap. Let's have a bet about it. Let's not wonder what it's like to actually be one of the people who is being lied about, either directly or by association.
I'm not teleporting, I'm trying to have a nice view of your mind.
If it was true, you would never stop hearing about it, but the truth doesn't matter to these people. Here is what you do, here is what you sound like if you have absolutely no integrity.
Now, you said there's normally a kernel of truth to what the president says.
Now, pay attention.
I challenged you exactly a year ago about these comments.
Is he onto something? Whenever he says something like this, that sounds absolutely credible.
Pay attention.
In the end, there always proves to be some truth.
There proves to be some truth.
I'll have a tenner with you. But within the next month or so, we find some evidence.
There you go. So we'll find some evidence of it. That's the bet. We'll find evidence. But you do that now. Fast forward, 12 months later.
I think Clark generally, when he says these things, he's pretty clear.
Inachukulia tini kio
If you can prove it, I've got my
inapotea tini.
Well, if you can prove it hasn't happened.
But that wasn't a bet night. The bet was that within a month evidence would emerge. And it hasn't. So what do? You swivel. You slime. You slime. And now you're telling lies about this country. You're telling lies about our neighbour, our friend.
Passengers are moving.
Who do not eat swine.
With me now.
It's a racist lie. Why does it feel so controversial to describe a racist lie as a racist lie? What has been done to us? That line of mark has actually become more controversial in this country. It's become a bigger problem to accuse a racist of racism than it has to actually be a victim of it. And the whole two-tier nonsense is a big part of that. Dan's in Dover. Dan, what would you like to say?
Hi, James. Well, firstly, thanks for making me follow that last guy. He was incredible.
So it's Felix talk about station eventually. Isn't your mate?
So, I just latched on. I really like the idea of trying to simplify this. I think we're giving the Farages and the Trumps just far too much credit. The way I see it, there was a dam growing up for me, where on the other side of the dam was all the racism and the horrible stuff. That was the underbelly, as it were. And for me, the dam was cracked, and I think we've been the proverbial boy sticking our finger in it, sort of to try and stop it over the last sort of 20 years. But Farage and Trump are the crack; they've let it through. So I don't know. It's always been.
And it's raining, guys.
I'm coming at this as a 44-year-old white male, so I'm coming at this with pure privilege.
So the kilometers go 359, you assume them. It's quite a long journey.
Isn't there? I don't mean the
Don't take it for granted.
There's also people who can be persuaded.
Quite a long journey.
And that's what this rhetoric is designed to do. So the first thing you do is you unleash the hardcore racists, all right? And
they're already ready. Yeah, they're
you get that up and running. That's happened as a consequence, perhaps. I mean, it was Stephen Yaxley-Leonard, of course, that Nigel Farage relied upon. Well, no, Andrew Tate that he relied upon. Information about the Southport killing. So you get the actual hardcore, full-on, what you might describe as the National Front legacy. But then you go to work on everybody else, and that's where the lies become really important, because you're telling people to be frightened. You're telling people that if there is some strong sex offender in asylum processing centre in Epping, then you
can't see
the nephew who was a sex offender. Would anybody argue that we should be suspicious of everybody with the same name, or everybody from the same family, or everybody of the same ethnicity? It would be absolutely absurd. But if it's an asylum seeker, then politicians are prepared to go down that very dark road. And that's where the tinder kicks in. So people who were not anything close to National Front level attitudes are being successfully frightened and terrorized is the word. Lies about eating pets and eating swans is a wonderful example of precisely that.
But your last caller nailed it, I think, and I hadn't thought of it until I was sitting waiting for Trump said, an awful thing, whatever it was.
I figure
Farmer just stood next to him and he on a grander reductionist scale,
sijui mbona basi ama mimi ndio nimeshuka zaidi, maana driving na hii side maana kuanga ile side ingine.
That's well, and then yeah, you're right. And there are suggestions he's about to start driving, maybe too little, too late, and he is not so far a particularly inspiring figure. It's also why I am very interested in this slightly self-aggrandizing observation about how few people there are in the space that they keep telling us is absolutely full to bursting with anti-woke warriors and anti-racist activists, and you know, I suppose it's why they couldn't cope with Black Lives Matter, because for a moment there were actually quite a lot of people standing up against racism and kneeling down against racism, and their little tiny heads exploded.
They realise, oh, we're not the majority, actually, we really aren't. And it's the majority that are getting scared. It sounds so silly, but it's such a superficial, silly thing. It's consciousness. If you just say, this is all lies, this is all shit, I think that's what it is as well. There's no kid shouting that the emperor hasn't got any clothes on. Even when you do, it's getting drowned out, and I don't understand why. They've managed to make the fear drown that out, and we need something or someone, hopefully Keir Starmer, because he's got the platform.
Ed Davey went there yesterday, actually, but again, where are the clips?
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked Ed Davey, and I've always liked the Lib Dems, but for some reason, you always get that like, oh yeah, well, they don't.
No, ni 2 kilometers already to
have that attitude about it.
Where does it happen? It's a funny one, isn't it? Because, you know,
there's a lot of talk online about the Green Party, and it's like, is that
any port in a storm?
Are we witnessing an extinction of an actual?
Easy videos.
Major two-party political system.
You're gonna refresh rate here 60
of the Green Party, but I'm very conscious of how effective the curse of O'Brien has been over the years. My experience of him thus far is a very clever social media game, and I'm still old and ugly enough to think, yeah, very clever social media game. But you can become president of the United States of America largely due to a very clever social media game. So the idea that it doesn't matter or that it's trivial or less important than traditional outlets is obviously absurd. It's just a little bit turkeys voting for Christmas for me to point that out. So, racist lies. That was easy, right? Quite liberating, actually, to simply state the truth about why you would tell lies about immigrants eating swans or cats or dogs, or a Muslim mayor wanting to introduce Sharia law.
On your radio, on the LBC app, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 11 o'clock, Nigel Farage has declined to rule out a link between autism and paracetamol use in pregnancy. The Reform UK leaders asked on LBC this morning if Donald Trump was right to claim the drug can cause neurodevelopmental disorders.
We were told thalidomide was a very safe drug, and it wasn't. Who knows? Nick, I don't know. You don't know. He has a particular thing about autism. I think because there's been some in his family. Feels it. I have no idea.
I wouldn't side with the medical experts who say it's dangerous.
I wouldn't. When it comes to science, I don't side with anybody.
The Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, says the remarks are anti-science, anti-reason and anti-NHS. Mr Farage has also defended his backing of some of Donald Trump's other headline-grabbing claims. He was challenged a year on about the suggestion that Haitian migrants in Ohio are eating people's cats and dogs.
If I said to you that swans were being eaten in rural parks in this country, that carp were being taken out of ponds and eaten in this country by people who come from cultures that have a different... Would you agree it's happening here?
I've certainly read... I didn't know about swans. I've read about carp.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, look, you know, neither of us can prove or disprove.
Who are taking the carp and the swans?
People who come from countries where that's quite acceptable.
Well, I've read headlines that it's Eastern Europeans, Romanians and people like that.
So I believe.
Is that what you've heard?
So I believe.
Mr Farage has also criticised the jail sentence given to an asylum seeker whose crime sparked protests in Epping. He's described Hadish Gabatu's 12-month jail term for sexual assault as an example of two-tier justice. A cabinet minister's told LBC that changes to the two-child benefit cap are subject to budgetary pressures. It's understood Sir Keir Starmer is looking at scrapping the policy as he prepares for Labour's conference in Liverpool. The issue could be debated by party members next week. The Work and Pensions Secretary, Pat McFadden, wouldn't confirm the report this morning.
We've already extended free school meals to families on year universal credit. That will lift 100,000 children out of child poverty. I know there are demands for us to go further, but all these things have to be considered in the round with all the other budgetary pressures that the government is under.
An influential think tank has urged Rachel Reeves to reverse her tax promises in the upcoming budget. The Institute for Government says the Chancellor will only be able to make piecemeal changes without serious reform. Labour promised during the election not to raise VAT, income tax or national insurance. In the city, the FTSE 100 a short time ago was trading down 7 points at 92.15. The pound buys $1.34 and a euro 14. LBC weather, most places dry and sunny today, but turning cloudier through the afternoon with a few showers in the south, with a high of 19 degrees. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Thomas Watts.
Some companies try to reel people in by promising quick cash if you pay them to claim work expenses. But think twice before taking the bait, because they might just want to land a commission, and it turns out you aren't eligible to claim anything. You'll have to pay HMRC back, and it's unlikely the company will refund any fees. So don't get caught out. Check if you're eligible and make a claim with HMRC for free online. Just search "Don't Get Caught Out."
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with James O'Brien.
You can't go around inciting racial hatred anywhere. You can't go around putting signs up in your boarding house window saying no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. This is all law. This is all do-good lefty lawyers. Do-gooding lefty lawyers have made these changes to our society. And not just lefties, of course. What's his jobs? Enoch Powell was expelled essentially from polite society by Ted Heath, leader of the Conservative Party, a man who was never once described as a lefty or indeed a do-gooder in the course of his entire political career. It's strangely liberating. I don't know whether we're ready yet to properly examine the question of why we're so reluctant to do it. Have we actually been groomed and gaslit by the Daily Mail columnists and the Spectator columnists and the people with the big platforms and the editors? We've actually been gaslit into not calling racists racist because we don't want to draw opprobrium, hatred down on ourselves. I don't actually remember. All black women to be shot, said he wants to shoot all black women. Words to that effect whenever he saw Diane Abbott. Even that, I think 10 years ago that would have got a very different response. I think a Conservative Party 10 years ago would have sent his money back, even if it was the last few quid in the coffers. But that's what they mean when they talk about the Overton window, isn't it? They talk about the parameters of acceptable conversation. You know, in this very studio earlier, two men talked about immigrants eating swans. A story that even The Sun, 22 years ago, had to apologise for. Not a newspaper that has a particular reputation for probity or integrity, but even they had to admit that their claims people had been arrested were absolute nonsense. That was 22 years ago. So Nigel Farage this morning recycling a 22-year-old racist lie and being relatively free to do so. Extraordinary. But perhaps even more extraordinary that there is a reluctance to call it racism. Why? Answer, all I've got, we go back to Occam's razor. Mark reminded us earlier, it's a regular feature on this programme. All we've got is that we're frightened to call racists racist now. Because you'll get a much bigger, and Elon Musk buying Twitter has probably contributed hugely to this. You're going to get a much bigger backlash orchestrated. How much of it is Russian bots? How much of it is people taking home a check from Musk? You're going to get a much, much bigger pylon hate mob backlash in the United Kingdom in 2025 for calling a racist than you are for doing racism. Actually, think about Twitter, which is where people like Kemi Badenoch seem to get all of their ideas and worldview from. Twitter is now well, it certainly was when I was on it a year ago, a racist sewer. It was the place where I first told you about these weird videos designed to make you think that every immigrant, every person of colour, everybody who looked a bit foreign was a violent criminal. All of them, absolutely all of them, or a sex offender. There's video after video after video, these ludicrous accounts. And then Elon Musk bought it and they became the bread and butter of the entire platform. Base racism. And what happens if you stand up to it? 500 blue ticks.
It's not that it's my first time reading a bus, but to be honest, it's my first time going a long distance with a bus. Kwa sababu recently I think umeangalia my last video ilikuwa just a short distance of around 7 kilometers. Ni just roaming around the city. That's why
Donald Trump being a leader, not a lawyer.
Sitaki short distance anymore. Sitaki kukuri hizo za hapo stage unachukulia hapa nimeangusha mtu na hapa mbele.
And sometimes there's a piece of the jigsaw missing and you've just found it down the back of your sofa. None of this is even challengeable, I don't think. It's racism, and the people responsible for making us frightened.
Najua mnajiuliza kwa nini ninaingia hivyo bila kuangalia. Naangalia, I'm using my side mirror very much. Sasa,
when's the last time you were called a racist? And what were you called racist
kwingine naweza ingia, kwingine siwezi.
That's a crucial question. If you have been called a racist, what did you do when they called you? I was proud to be English. I just flew a flag. Really? Because I don't believe you.
Bila kuindicate. Juu nikiangalia napata sioni any car behind me.
Scientifically illiterate lies of Donald Trump, a man who has put Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in charge of the health care system in the United States of America. A man you would not trust to run a bar. And it happened 24 hours later. And it's actually more complicated, I think. That question. Why would anybody not call out Donald Trump's nonsense on paracetamol and autism? I think yesterday we got some very good answers to the question of why Donald Trump has told the lies. But why Nigel Farage would not call them lies, I think is something we should look into together, and will do, hopefully today. But first, Stephen is in Havering. Stephen, what would you like to say?
Okay, firstly, James, it's a genuine pleasure to speak to you. I'm not going to preface this by saying that I'm nervous, like some callers, because I'm not.
I'm not a professional driver, but I'm trying
to listen to someone
but with time
sensible,
to catch up,
with integrity. So hopefully this is going to be a good call. I live in.
It already is. It already is.
I live in a borough where it is currently scary, frankly, to see so many roundabouts, so many different voices that are now becoming louder. When we moved into Havering, I say we, my wife and I, we had a daughter who had Basson's disease, which is a neurodegenerative illness, and she was given 2 years to live. Thankfully, she lives a further 9, but we were at home trying to make a new home in Havering.
Hizi gari sijui ni mimi naomba speed ama WhatsApp, sijui ni tunafanya yake speed limiter, cheze hii bus speed limiter ama WhatsApp.
I believe she should say the context is black. I am white seeming. I passed for white. My mum came on a boat, not a dinghy, but
Nikimbia alafu ili nini kile speed na katangani.
There's a very mixed backgrounds, but I think the important point I want to get across is I've had to kind of man up, I suppose, and become able to speak out when I know I need to be anti-racist. I'll give you an example if you like one.
Please.
Yeah, so recently in a church group chat, I found it extraordinarily difficult to remain silent anymore when I saw the lionising of Charlie Kirk. Obviously, it's terrible that anybody should be killed, especially obviously the effect on the family, etc., etc. But what I did
Hapa hakuna, imebidi tu nitoke kwa barabara kabisa.
Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you. Do you know, it's a funny one. I often wonder what Jesus would make of people who claim in public that they're upholding Judeo-Christian values, which is a largely meaningless phrase anyway, designed very obviously to exclude the other Abrahamic religion and cast it as somehow suspect, namely Islam. But go on.
I mean, I think I don't want to tar all of the members of this group with the same brush, because thankfully at 3 a.m. after I had
askari mahali wamepaka gari kama wamejua na wanakuja na hii karibu wanitesa na hapa speed zinakubali hadi 140. Maji niko kwa pavement nikatazani speed kirudi kwa barabara yakuwa reli kanyaga pavement ikatazani barabara ikatazani speed.
I mean, as you did, I mean, if you use the person's words and you actually play them out and repeat them, there should be a problem. By 3 a.m. it got to the stage where I had trouble sleep, woke up, looked
Which
at
town
my
is this?
WhatsApp, and I saw that there were a number of individuals who broke cover, one of whom runs an extraordinary charity that helps people in Rwanda and Uganda, of which I'm a trustee, and she said to me, Stephen, look,
the city of Kaja,
battling moments in your life where you're having to face this noise and this level of hate, actually, yes, hate, and I felt that was cool. I then had a number of other come in to say it's all right, well done, and then by the end of it, I mean, we've got a little library at home. I'm homeschooling my son at the moment. We're writing a play on Windrush. We did it 20 years ago. I say we, my students put on a play at the Young Vic. It was wonderful. And we're trying to do the same in Havering, and that in itself is interesting. I'll come to that briefly, if I may, in a moment. But let me just finish this point. So I then went into the kind of study area, and it's actually the room where my daughter's ashes are. And I basically we've got a little haven there with books and everything, and I picked out The Jesus I Never Knew by Felix, who I think is quite a solid voice. Thankfully, still in America, he doesn't, come out in this way that some of these preachers have on the fundamentalist right. And I read a bit there on mission, and what actually quietened my spirit was to listen to the way he talked about having grace-filled eyes and to approach life in a way that truly attempts to understand the other in a way that allows for the fact that we're all flawed, we're all, going to potentially not necessarily behave or do the things that we should do if we were calm and rational. So that helped. And then to make you laugh, James, I did a philosophy degree and literature degree, and I picked up Karl Marx's writings and read his letter to his father, the extended one, and that was quite poetic and beautiful. And I just thought to myself, do you know what? Go to sleep now. Wake up, face another day, and it got worse before it got better. And briefly, it was me having to go up against, outside the chat now, a whole set of individuals who just couldn't understand what on earth I was going on about, and the Sharia law thing came up, so just quickly on that. Yeah, I love the Shakira thing.
Well, that's where it starts. That's where it starts, and it's funny until the President of the United States says it in front of the United Nations, because then all the racists, whether they're in your church group or not, all the racists feel vindicated and validated. That's why I often say separating the office from the individual is impossible, and not even something you should try very hard to do, because if somebody in that office tells a racist lie, then lots and lots of people will end up thinking, A, it's not racist, and B, it's not a lie. But it never changes. The truth never changes. It's a racist lie. It just is. And yet, of course, now the President of the United States has said it. You're a Billy bunch of numbers with a bulldog avatar is going to feel like all his ships have come in at once. Stephen, you covered a lot of ground there, and I'm grateful to you for it, and I'm sorry for what you're going through. And I'm very honoured to hear you describe this programme as a safe space.
Ameniharibia starehe.
This is your sign to taste Jamaican jerk chicken.
Yes, Evans.
Good, it brings a tear to your eye.
I'm good.
Catch a New York basement gig worth the 10-block detour. Or hit the dunes in Dubai and find sand in your pockets for weeks.
Yeah.
Seize the sale. Book in store or online at Virgin Atlantic Holidays. Selected routes. For T's and C's, visit virginatlantic.com.
At Lidl, we value all the good that value brings. But what do you value? You value the quiet victory of a scoreline that glides without a hitch, the lunchbox negotiations. You value filling your boot, bringing everything and everyone to the table. You value your food, real food, fresh food, quality that speaks for itself. And so do we, giving you more to value at every step, every day. Lidl, more to value.
James O'Brien on LBC. Call 0345 6060973.
It's 11:21.
Oh,
Do you want to hear something funny, James? Right, Peter. Hell yes, Peter, I do. I'm listening on catch up, and you've just said it's almost 11:15 when it was in fact 10:30. You said that a taxi driver had told you it was 11:15, and therefore it must be true. But that is actually the time now, and I am actually listening to you on catch up. Spooky, right, Peter. Spooky indeed, Peter. Spooky indeed. Why are we talking about that? Because Nigel Farage no longer gets all his information from lies posted on social media by the alleged rapist and people trafficker Andrew Tate. He's moved on now to unidentified taxi drivers in Buckinghamshire who have told him that Sharia law is coming and there's nothing we can do about it. A message that resonates with Maureen, who's got in touch to say it's not being racist, it's a fact. This country will become Muslim at some point. It's not very racy. Or maybe we've got a different definition of the word racy. We probably agree on the definition of the word racist, but how can it be racy? It's not being racist, it's a fact. This country will become Muslim at some point. I mean, how do you even begin to argue that? Of course, if you wanted to have a bet, I bet you that by this time next year, this country is not Muslim. If you were dealing with a slime ball who would accept your bet, and then when a year later they had not, you could prove that it has definitely not been. So, well, you can't prove it. I said there'd be evidence that Haitians in America were eating cats and dogs within a month. And then there was no evidence, so I'm pretending that actually you having to prove that there was.
Those are the dimensions.
Dishonest doesn't even do it, does it? Doesn't even come close. By the way, you only get away with that because you know you're going to be allowed to.
You do this when you upload hizo dimensions.
So now is in Southern to steer us back to the racism conversation. I'll say that again.
I'm very sure your images they are large.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for taking morning. Sorry, it's still morning.
No, isn't it? It's 7:20 in the evening. A taxi driver told me.
You can see all that.
You know, if we're asking, is what Trump said racist? Like, any time that you talk about somebody's protected characteristic as the reason why something negative is happening, it's racist. Like, there is a definition in the legislation that provides us with that. And I think what's worse is when he's talking about, you know, London's terrible, we have all this crime there, they're lawless under the current mayor, and using the mayor's religion as a attacking tool. You're absolutely right doing that, but I think what we tie in with the big right-wing movement we're seeing at the moment. You know, London is like a micro country. We know that. It's very different to the rest of England, especially when we look at demographics or ethnicity compared to the rest of the country.
It is one of the most successful examples of diversity and multiculturalism on the planet.
And what an absolute pleasure and blessing to have been born in Guys and raised in this beautiful city, and my children.
Well, I'm an incomer. I'm an incomer, so thank you for making me feel at home.
No, and you know, we love it, but we have that highest crime rate because of phone snatching, right? It's a big issue up here, we know that. But phone snatching is linked to county crime. It's all linked.
That's a friend of mine.
Big criminals.
I was trying to talk to a friend of mine,
and I want you to just sit with this data, right?
I'm trying to show him on how to work from home.
Because of county line involvement has been permanently excluded.
Unapata hiyo ni mambo na upwork. Inafaa nikuwe isaidia juu. Sijui kama ataniruhusu niingie. Ndio niliindicate size kata, ndio maana hajakimbia. Nafaa niingililia hapa shoot turn around here. Chukue hiyo nyingine. Blando narudi mahali umetoka. This is a two-way. Two-way ama ni one way this? Ni two-way. Ni two-way. Two-way inamaanisha zinakuja zingine zina, lakini kama ni one way zote you are moving to the same direction. Find after mahali ni paki gari. 9. Screenshot I was taken. This is very risky. I cannot advise anyone to overtake. Naona jamaa kana nini zake. Kuna places naweza advise mtu overtake, lakini unaona barabara venye nakaa. These are ultra graphics. They are the one I'm using current of late. Kwa nikitumia ultra na record at 1080, but when I start streaming then I change from ultra to medium. I don't want to renew my GPU so much. Sijapata mahali naweza simama. I'm still looking for one. Bani overtake hivi alafu banana gari hapa ikiwa nini? Leo kuna places zinafaa overtake zingine no. Hapa hii si dotted line. Continuous, so means stick to your line. Hadi unaona pole waya za stima. Hii inaitwa kuingia kichwa ngumu. You should never do that. Ukifika hapo kama unataka kuingia kichwa ngumu, change your camera to camera 2 ndio uone, usikuze gari ya mtu. Lakini ndio kuingia kichwa ngumu. Napenda sana kuingia, lakini niko na hofu hapo nyuma. Unajua gari yangu sasa ni kubwa, so mimi overtake si kama trailer. pia sinti singi. Ndio muona hapa tu sasa. Maana venye hapo nimeingia kimangoni. What's happening hapa? Mtu mimi na mata haya speed mimi naona niko sawa. Mimi slow naona pale barabara ni kama inapotea kwa map. ni 500 ni 300 kilometers, lakini you're closing up to 1 hour. But real ones, yani unaendesha hivi unasikia yenyewe. Nataka ikiingia 233 uangalie. Simingia 233. Let's check itateka how long kutoka from 233. Blanda kidogo inamaanisha upeperushe gari. Na customer wanaenda mbali. Customer huko ni wapi? Customer amefanya hadi gauge yangu ya mafuta imeteremka. Kama amesimama, unajua bado zibada mahali pa kusimama. Ndio petrol station hivi, kama kikitu tu nisimame tu mahali kando. Unasoma hadi gari iko huko, unasoma ni nini imeandikwa. Sijui nisimamishe gari hapa kando. Zima engine. Are you talking about my people? Nilikuwa na shuku, ningeendelea mbele hapo, ningeharibu mambo. Ziko bado zinataka maji zichemke vizuri proper. Nikiendelea kuendesha gari yangu mimi. Iko nitaangaza. Cheki hiyo view, picha lazima, picha lazima. Sema tupige na side ya nyuma pia. Small cars zinapata zinakaa design moja, unaona zinakaa tofauti. That's why I needed a graphics card. I'm recording ultra. Parala, mimi niko 150. Maana unaona nakacha busy magari rahisi hivyo. Freeze kidogo, nilikuwa nashangaa rada ni gani. I'm playing at ultra. Lakini gani nirudisha tu I. Nipe ultra is too much. Naona hadi mawingu. Nakaa real. Radio ilinyamaza. Manade. Radio ikinyamaza. My passengers are not getting F6. Juu tumebeba nini? terminal. Nifaa nifike huko Monday. Leo 6. Zaini saa 5. Nifaa nifike 6. We must maneuver. We must maneuver. We must maneuver. Kuna nini ya kupima weight hiyo si nyingine. Kama pia sisi tunafaa tupime weight. Kama sisi pia sisi tunafaa tupime weight. Nimepitia tu. Cha tupime weight. Your total weight is 28 tons. You may proceed. Nimeona nini mimi? You may proceed and then hiyo ni kulipa. Nimemguza. Baba Renald. imeisha. Ikisha 185 kilometers. 350 kilometers. It's taking that long. By 6 should have delivered the goods, the people to their various destinations. Shika breki kamera. A DJ truck gamer. You should not be doing this. Unapitia watu. It's very risky. Gonga mtu wenyewe kusudi. Unasema ulikuwa unafanya. Ah, mimi sio camera view. That camera view. Pande gani? Oh, ndio ile pale. What should I do? Tunga tupigie picha hapa kwanza. Hapa panakaa fiti ni aje. Nirudishe gari nyuma. Zinaweza cross. Hiyo ni niko pale. Hiyo picha na mbaya. Tuchukue hiyo kamera audience. My bad. Nilikuwa nimegonga hiyo signboard. No, kama bado iko. Ndio nilikuwa nataka nikinunua graphics to enjoy, si kukimbia tu. Unakimbia unafikisha mzigo, you are not enjoying the game. You need to stop the engine. That's what I wanted. To enjoy the game. To enjoy the game. That's what I want. These are the things I want. These are the things I want. when I'm using these things, these are the things I want. The view. Just look at the town. The guy is making the town clean. There we are. These are the things I want. Enjoy the game. You can start recording. Nikianza kujoin the video. It's vizuri when the videos are separate. Because once I merge them, it's going to give me a very hard time. Customer anakuwa anajua kishabu ya customer anajua 300 kilometers za hii map. I know it. Si ati nimewahi stream hii nini TikTok. If you are going to check, you can check on my videos. Utapata nimewahi stream hii kitu. Oh, my speed was too high. Ni kama my bad. Duniani it happens kwa barabara. Saa zote ati unatumia piga garage ni moja. Kwani station ina jina? Ya tutapiga moja juu sasa hapa hakuna jina hapa. Sisi tunataka mafuta sisi no. Oh, kuna ingine iko pale. Kwa hivyo uzuri ni kutafuta hizi terminals. That's the issue. Unatafuta hizi imeandikwa terminal. Kama nimeguza 9. Ya nimeguza nani? Ndio sasa the trick mahali iko. Hiyo ndio kitu siko na notice. Natafuta mahali pameandikwa terminal. Uzuri hapa hakuna kamera. Sasa mimi ile sana niliingia juu kamera ilinini. seal. Yeah. Shafika saa 8. Sababisha fracas na kuna mgonjwa anapelekwa hosi. Tunatafuta mahali ni paki gari. Ndio ubaya, zina label. Gasma. Haiwezi. Kama hii imekubali na pia nayo imekataa. Hii iko na maji mwakani kama inaisha. Ni kadhaa malizia kupika hii. Iko sawa. tuchomoe gari. Kuna mafuta, tuingie huko tutupigie. Tuingie tu enjoy that nature. Kwa na gari iko na mafuta. Iko na PC na iko na graphics. Tunaingia huko tu nini? Tunaingia huko tu enjoy. Tunawatekia hapa. Kwangu juu hiyo truck ningekuwa nimerudisha gari kwa ile ni ya mwisho, lakini juu hiyo truck na change hizi model za hii wipe zinipendezi. Memguza memguza. Zinipendezi. Nasisikia mvua. Hii map sijaweka mode ya rain. Unable to feel the rain. Vipi? Kwa poa. Joje za kwa kwake oje alishuka ni jana. Walishika jana? Somo peke yako. Peke yangu mimi. Mbizi ama? Zizi. Sana za pitia ama naweza pitia. Sawa. Hadi leo bana niko off mwanangu. Nakuweka hapa kitani na kwa shaya. Unaweza pitia ila no. Basi. I was on a phone call, chat. shit. Oh my god. Hizo zilikuwa zimelambana hapo, na ni kama wamejua na hiyo barabara sana. My bad. mateka. Murudu gari waneka vunja. Gari mbona haweki allowance side moja? Siweki allowance pande zote. Niona nipo. Ndio baya. Kishaona kamera mahali shachanganyikiwa. Hizi ndio vitu tulisema tunataka kuona. Si kila saa ati nini. Hizi ndio adventure we love to see when we are traveling. Yeah, to adventure. The surroundings, the camera view, magari tumepark. Those are the things we love to see. It's almost closing up to 1 minute.
On LBC.
Do it for your wife, who told you to pick up bread.
Imagine saying
instead you picked up
okay.
Fred, your grandson.
After lastly when we
and now your daughter is calling because he missed football. That's the 4th time this month. You can wave his future career goodbye. If you don't do it for you, do it for your wife and little Freddie.
Book a free hearing test today at bootshearingcare.com and save up to £300 with our free technology upgrade. Boots, with you for life. T's and C's apply. See website for details.
Get them class ready with Samsung. Upgrade to the epic Galaxy S25 Ultra and get a free 14-inch Galaxy Chromebook Go worth £399. A laptop for study and streaming and a Galaxy AI-powered smartphone that effortlessly manages your everyday tasks. It's genius, really. Buy before the 2nd of October 2025 from a participating retailer. Claim from Samsung within 30 days of purchase. T's and C's apply.
Buying a home on a holiday park was the retreat you always wanted. But then came unexpected site fee increases. And that was before the dramatic loss in value. If you bought a home on a holiday park in the UK, you may have been missold. HolidayParkAdviceCentre.co.uk could help you receive thousands in compensation. Text ASSIST to 78900. That's ASSIST to 78900.
So, what's on your to-do list today? Why don't you check if you're eligible for pension credit? It tops up your pension income and also opens up help with heating bills, council tax and more. Search pension credit on gov.uk or call 0800 99 123. Check today. Pension credit. Credit where credit's due.
It's really, really complicated.
What? Is it saturated in nibs?
So dark it comes with a therapist.
To the
Anime slow. Hello, anime slow.
Would scientists compare the
Anyway, nafuataga speed limit kila mahali.
No pretentiousness. No
moja tu ina speed alafu hiki tu ina
dark chocolate from Cadbury. Cadbury Bourneville, made to be enjoyed, not endured.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with James O'Brien.
10 to 1 is the time. A quick shout to Mikey. Mate, I think you've just looked up the paperback. That's what comes out in April 2026. The hardback of How to Defeat the Far Right, Lessons from Hope Not Hate, is out in hardback now. Official publication date 25th of September, which is tomorrow. But I did that a couple of times. You look up a book and you find the paperback release date and think, crikey, why are they interviewing an author about that? And a lovely message from Dave that I want to read to you as well shortly, because it just highlights how sometimes the planets align, conversations, topics we select, guests that we occasionally invite into the studio just hit your life or reflect your life in a way that you can't produce or manufacture. You certainly can't fake it. Hi James, writes David Bournemouth. What a timely question you ask. Last Tuesday, my wife completed her citizenship ceremony, and by the end of the week, our 10-year-old daughter was asking questions about whether she was at risk of being sent home. My wife said this is her home, and she's going nowhere, but I don't think my daughter is fully convinced. And it was National Front rhetoric about compulsory repatriation that prompted Nick Lowes to set off on the course of battling fascism and far-right ideologies, or well, all extremist ideologies, as you'll discover if you know anything about Hope Not Hate, although the new book focuses on the far right. That notion, that little boy frightened that they were going to take his mum away, is a fear that will have been sown in the hearts of many, many British children this week by Nigel Farage and his facilitators in the media. Whew. Simon Marks is in the studio, our Washington editor, currently in London. Have you been deported?
I have not been deported, but I'm just taking a little break.
I'm glad to hear it. I think it's important to remember that we all need to take a break from this.
Yes.
Do you have that little bit of, rats, the news has gone bonkers and I'm not on the case?
No, because I am on the case.
No,
You're always on the case from here, and the news over there, of course, is always going bonkers. So there's no good time to pick if you're in my game to take a break. But so it's not really a break.
And
it's just watching it from afar for a bit.
A busman's holiday.
Yes.
What has happened with Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel came back on air last night, as you know. Remember that Jimmy Kimmel was indefinitely suspended by ABC over comments that he made relating to Donald Trump and his supporters' reaction to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as opposed to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which is what the White House would like everyone to believe. And what occurred in the days since last week when that suspension occurred is that ABC found itself caught in a real vice, because on the one hand, the White House was insisting, right, that's the end of Jimmy Kimmel, we've vanquished another one of our enemies in the mainstream media, but consumers were deluging Disney with cancellations, particularly for their Disney Plus service. So many cancellations that it actually brought the sign-out page crashing down over the weekend. So yesterday ABC said, look, we indefinitely suspended him, but now we're lifting the suspension. We've had lots of conversations with him about what he's going to say and how he's going to behave on air going forward, and he'll be back on air tonight. So he wasn't back on air last night, and we can hear in this excerpt from his monologue that he presented a vigorous and at times emotional defense of America's tradition and its constitutional protections for free speech.
But I do want to make something clear, because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it. I still do.
So that was Jimmy Kimmel on air last night. But he was only on air in those towns and cities across the United States where ABC's local stations were carrying the program. You could not watch that in Washington, D.C., because Sinclair, the second largest group of local stations in the United States, completely pro-Trump, refused to put him back on air. Next People thought he was finished. Thought he was done, and indeed, absolutely Donald Trump certainly thought he was done, because if you look at his message on Truth Social that was posted last night, he says, "I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was cancelled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there." And then he goes on to make fresh threats to continue this campaign against ABC, and he will undoubtedly leverage the labours of his pliant head of the Federal Communications Commission, Brendan Carr, who's going to continue threatening ABC with restrictions or possibly even a revocation over their broadcast licenses if they continue to keep Kimmel on the air. And so why you can't celebrate the return of free speech is because those local station groups are hugely powerful. They're keeping him off the air in major television markets all over the country. That reduces the economic viability of the program even further. And it also indicates that those local station groups don't think that Jimmy Kimmel is worth going to the mat for. They would much rather avoid a beef with the White House, continuing to threaten their businesses.
In by promising quick cash if you pay them to claim work expenses. But think twice before taking the bait, because they might just want to land a commission, and it turns out you aren't eligible to claim anything. You'll have to pay HMRC back, and it's unlikely the company will refund any fees. So don't get caught out. Check if you're eligible and make a claim with HMRC for free online. Just search "Don't Get Caught Out."
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Sheila Fogarty.
Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol during pregnancy, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism. Taking Tylenol is not good. For this reason, they are strongly recommending that women limit Tylenol use during pregnancy unless medically necessary.
Yesterday, the talk about it, but in a slightly wider context. Today, this is what he and others will hear from Nigel Farage in a moment, but not just Nigel Farage. This I think, is what they're doing when they talk like this. This would be like me being a politician, wanting you to vote for me, and saying the following in front of a microphone. I am about to say the following in front of a microphone, but with my tongue firmly in my cheek, just so you know. There's no evidence to suggest that Henry signed the Lord's Prayer. But ask yourself this: is there any evidence that they can't? For me, there's no evidence to suggest oranges are in fact apples. They're just words that we've agreed on. Maybe oranges are apples. Vote for me. There's no evidence to suggest today is Saturday, not Wednesday. It's only Wednesday, because we agree it's Wednesday. Vote for me. Have a listen to Nigel Farage.
I do think individual countries should have to have their own debates and make their own health decisions. So I wouldn't follow what Mr. Kennedy's department does. I'd listen to what they have to say, but I wouldn't follow it. In fact, nor would I follow the World Health Organization, who now seem to want to take some extraordinary powers that will allow them to work out in the future. Having our own independent healthcare policy, making our own decisions, must be the right thing to do.
When when Donald Trump talks about links between paracetamol, Tylenol and autism, is he right?
I have no idea.
You think he might be right?
I have no idea. We were told thalidomide was a very safe drug, and it wasn't. Who knows? Nick, I don't know. You don't know. He has a particular thing about autism. I think because there's been some in his family. Feels it very personally. I have no idea.
You wouldn't side with the medical experts who say it's dangerous.
I wouldn't side. When it comes to science, I don't side with anybody.
Right.
I don't side with anybody, because science is never separate, and we should remember.
But in the light of that research done in Stockholm with 2.4 million children, someone in an influential position like the President of the United States, to say that taking Tylenol or paracetamol can cause autism, that's irresponsible, Nigel Farage.
That's an opinion he's got. It's not one that I necessarily share, but
slithering around, isn't it? Slithering around the apples, the oranges, the Wednesday, the Saturday, the goats saying the Lord's Prayer. Just words. Just words. I'm just going to throw words at you and not say anything substantial other than vote for me. But he isn't the only politician gaslighting you. He certainly does in moments like that, but I don't think he's the only one doing it. Remember these?
A woman can have a penis.
I'm not. I don't think we can conduct this debate with,
Sorry, I get this. Did you?
No, it's just... I just...
A woman can have a penis.
I don't think that discussing this issue in this way helps anyone in the long run. What I want to see is...
And I was stunned time and again by senior figures in the Labour shadow cabinet and now cabinet who, prior to the Cass review, were saying things even more bizarre than Trump yesterday about paracetamol, or the day before when we said it about paracetamol. Ed Davey yesterday talking, I think, correctly about the silent majority that rejects the sort of worst end of Nigel Farage's brand of right-wing politics. Ordinary, decent people he talked about of this country, and rightly so. But Nigel Farage, Mr. Davey, or Sir Ed, I should say, Nigel Farage has spoken more truthfully about biological sex than Ed Davey, Keir Starmer, or David Lammy put together. So where does this leave us?
You never see what's happening.
That's Sadiq Khan too. But Nigel Farage on Sharia law, commenting again on what President Trump said about Sharia law in the UK. He said this, Farage. Is it an issue in London at this stage? Yes, he said. Is it an overwhelming issue? No. Is it an issue?
Unless
all kinds of things are an issue. I've been talking about Sharia law, what it is, what it isn't in this country, probably for 20 years. When Nigel Farage first came sort of prominently on the political scene, he was talking about Sharia law. I also had people like Anjem Chowdhury in my studio when I worked at the BBC claiming openly that we would have Sharia law in this country. He's now in prison, I think I'm right in saying, but he certainly spent a long time in prison. He talked about the flag of Sharia hanging above Downing Street and said it would happen. And I told him it wouldn't happen because there was no political will in this country, democratic will in this country for that to happen. So to that degree, Sharia law has been talked about in this country, but it isn't an issue in this country any more than Catholic canon law is an issue in this country. Does it exist? Yes. Is it about church teaching? Yes. Is Sharia law about Islamic teaching? Yes. Does it have any legal dominance, precedence or power in this country? None. Zero. Speaking of zero, a really important, clear message today on Twitter, just this morning, from Emma member Thornbury, which I'll link to because I thought it was good. It was good, and it's what we need more of. I know we're a long way off the general election, but this is my point. I think this week has been, and probably will be over the next couple of days when we start to hear from the Labour Party conference as well, I think it's been something of a sort of petri dish for the election campaign that we're likely to have down the line. This is what Emily Thornbury says about Donald Trump's comments on Sadiq Khan. Great clarity. You don't have to like it, you don't have to support it, it's just clear. She says, I've known Sadiq Khan for over 30 years. He's a feminist, a socialist, an LGBTQ plus ally. I'm so proud he's our London mayor. For the record, she says, he's as interested in introducing Sharia law to London as I am. I know 0%. Those who suggest otherwise are deluded or have a very sinister agenda. Couldn't be clearer. Like I say, you don't have to agree with what she says. You don't have to support feminism. You don't have to support socialism. You don't have to be an LGBTQ plus ally. You don't have to be any of those things. But she leaves you in no doubt what she's saying, what she's thinking, and what her message is. Those are politicians I can get on board with. Even Nigel Farage. Lots of what he says I don't like one bit. But he hasn't told any lies about biological sex. Many Labour politicians have, including our own Prime Minister. Ed Davey talks about it in a way that the vast majority of ordinary decent, to use his language, ordinary decent British voters don't agree with him. Just have a look at the latest polls. YouGov did one at the beginning of this year. People don't agree with him. It's a sort of luxury indulgent belief of the political classes, or some bits of the political classes. So I'm saying all of this not to land on any particular issue, but to land on the truth. I have left the Conservatives out. The Tories constantly, senior people in the Tories, such as the party is at the moment, allow all the time for easy conflation between political Islamism, violent political Islamism, and ordinary Muslims who live next door to you, work with you, you might have fallen in love with, you might be, whatever. Your connection to them is your connection to them. But the Conservatives lie when they do that. It is a lie. They are trying to convince you in a nasty, sinister way that Muslim equals dangerous. That happens all the time in our politics. Nigel Farage does it. Tories do it. I talked yesterday on the programme about critical thinking and careful listening, and I'll try and listen carefully when you call as well. I hope you know that I do. But I think the same theme is underlying our conversation today, because if this week is something of a microcosm or a sort of petri dish for how our politics is going to be conducted over the next few years and during an election campaign, we're going to have to learn to think on our feet and very critically indeed. Where does all this, the lying, the dissembling, the phrasing, the phraseology of things, Nigel Farage's response to what Donald Trump has said about Sharia law and what he said about Sadiq Khan and what he said about paracetamol, think what Keir Starmer said about women and penises. It just speak clearly. And by the way, in that Keir Starmer, when he said, I like open discussion, that was the last thing he said to Nick Ferrari. Having completely ignored Nick's question. He just ummed and ahed, wrung his hands and said how much he wanted to listen to everybody on the subject, but he wouldn't answer Nick's question. Likes open discussion. Not always he doesn't. It's 116.
This is LBC.
Sharing intimate photos of her without her consent. Unwanted touching. Unwanted comments. Unwanted nudes.
Controlling what she can and can't wear.
Controlling who she can and can't see.
Threatening her.
Enough. This is abuse.
If you think it's wrong, act on it.
Call it out, show support, report it.
There are many ways you can safely tackle violence against women and girls. Find out how at gov.uk/enough. If someone is in danger, call 999.
Because you never know what little pickles will get themselves into. For pet insurance policies that you unique as they are, visit petsinappickle.co.uk.
How exciting is it to play the British Heart Foundation's weekly flutter? Exciting enough to get your heart racing. Just a little bit. Like texting a mate. The same time they text you. Like flipping pancakes with majestic grace. Or spotting that last parking space. Yes! With the added joy of knowing the money you donate helps to fund life-saving research. £1 to play, £1,000 to win every week. Search British Heart Foundation Weekly Lottery. See? It's a little bit exciting.
Gamble responsibly. Over 18s only. T's and C's apply. Please see our website for more details. British Heart Foundation is a registered charity.
When you're smiling. Banning Dental Group Clinics. With over 5,000 top-rated Google reviews. Keep on smiling.
This is LBC with Sheila Fogarty. Call 0345 6060 973. Alexa, send a comment to LBC. Text 84850.
Right, let me get straight to your calls on this question of how we as voters and as journalists, but journalists are voters too, of course, navigate this. I think it is a contagion in our politics coming straight from America for sure. And we've seen it. We've seen examples of it already.